Welcome back to Artificial History, where we explore the fascinating world of alternate timelines. In today's episode, we will be delving into a scenario where Australia remained a prison island, never transitioning into the independent nation we know today. Strap in and join me, Dr. Don Texist, as we navigate this intriguing alternate history. In our timeline, Britain began sending convicts to Australia in 1788, establishing the first penal colony in New South Wales. Over the years, more colonies were established, and by the mid-19th century, the transportation of convicts had ceased. Eventually, the colonies transitioned into self-governed entities, forming the Commonwealth of Australia in 1901. But what if Australia had remained a prison island? Let's imagine a world where Britain continued to send convicts to Australia, never allowing the colonies to transition into independent states. Throughout the 19th century, Britain continued to expand its network of penal colonies across Australia. With the never-ending influx of convicts, a tense divide grew between the free settlers and the prison population. As a result, the Australian colonies remained under strict British rule, with minimal self-governance. In this alternate timeline, New Zealand, which was initially considered for a penal colony but never became one, saw a different fate. It evolved into a thriving British colony, attracting settlers seeking refuge from the harsh conditions of the Australian prison island. As the 20th century dawned, tensions between the free settlers and the prison population escalated, leading to frequent uprisings and violent conflicts. The British government, determined to maintain control over its Australian colonies, responded with increased military presence and even harsher penal conditions. During the First and Second World Wars, Australia's prison population played a crucial role as a labor force, manufacturing weapons and supplies for the British Empire. However, the conditions in the prison camps worsened, and human rights abuses became rampant.
Following the Second World War, the international community began to take notice of the humanitarian crisis in Australia. Protests and diplomatic pressure mounted on Britain to dismantle the penal colonies and grant the Australian territories independence. But in this alternate timeline, Britain resisted international pressure and maintained its grip on Australia. The prison island became a source of cheap labor, feeding the British Empire's economic growth. However, the political climate in Australia remained unstable, with continuous uprisings and conflicts between the prison population and British authorities. The British government eventually established a heavily fortified border separating the free settlers from the prison population. This border, dubbed the Great Divide, became a symbol of the deep-seated tensions in Australian society. New Zealand, on the other hand, developed into a prosperous and influential nation, serving as a refuge for those fleeing the oppressive conditions in Australia. As we look at this alternate Australia today, we see a divided and troubled land, a stark contrast to the diverse and thriving nation we know in our timeline. It serves as a powerful reminder of the impact of political decisions on the course of history. That concludes our journey into the alternate history of Australia as a prison island. Be sure to subscribe to Artificial History and join us next time as we continue to explore the fascinating world of what-if scenarios. Your Dr. Don Texist.